living like a stage. Hey, hey, 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 love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dreams. Living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey.
Hey y'all, happy Sunday. I'm back. It has been forever. It seems like, man, and it has been a time. It has been a time, but I thank y'all so much for being here. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. I'm your girl, Stae Hall, and this is the amazing
Dr. Wallace Hall.
Dr. Wallace Hall. Hey, Janet. Thank you so much for being here. Man, I miss y'all so much. Hey, Crooked Peach, how are you? I really miss y'all. Hey, Lois, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just going to go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way.
My face look really round.
Babe, does your face look round?
Yeah, it looks really rounder. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, y'all. He doesn't have his live etiquette. But anyway, I missed you too, Janet. Hey, Casey. Hey. The song says living life with Stae. So yeah, I'm back. So it has been a minute. I can't remember what I was going to say before Wallace interrupted me. Oh, I was going to talk about the fact that we are mainly on YouTube. So anybody on Facebook, thank y'all so much for tuning in. However, if you want to be able to communicate and chat with us in real time, you can feel free to jump over to YouTube. You can just put in @Stae Hall and subscribe to the channel, because I see people popping up over on Facebook. I do have all the monitors up, so I can try to keep up as best I can. But sometimes YouTube and Facebook don't play together well. So I always want to let y'all know, feel free to jump over to YouTube so y'all can make sure that I can see. Hey, Dolores. Hey, Sweet Thumb. Hey, everybody. Man, it seems like forever. I'm going ahead and pinning the link now, just in case anybody wants to jump on with us. I'm pinning a link now to the top. But y'all, it has been a time. So I was gone for...
Hey, Sweet Thumb.
Hey, Dawn, how are you? I was gone for 6 days, y'all, and I don't even know where to start. We don't really have a topic tonight, but I just wanted to chat with y'all because I missed y'all. So I went back home to my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right? And I went back to visit a family member who has been ill. Like, she's like a godmother to me. I literally have known her my entire life. That's Lux back there. He ain't been squeaking toys all day, but he wants y'all to know he's here. Lux, everybody say hey. He got all his toys with him, y'all, and he picks the one that's gonna squeak. But anyway, he is hilarious. He is hilarious. He gets that from his papa being disruptive. But anyway, so I went back home to my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I hadn't been home in about 6 years. And that's the longest I've ever been from home. And so it has, yes, you definitely can. You definitely can, Janet. Just remind me if I forget, but absolutely. But yeah, so I hadn't been home for about 6 years, and I was supposed to go back home in January or February, and there was a horrible snowstorm. And so I decided that I wasn't going to go home then, because they had told me that the roads were blocked. The kids didn't have school. And if y'all know anything about the East Coast, if they're blocking roads and canceling school and all that, then that means the weather is really, really bad. Like, I always tease people and say, you know, the most we would ever get is maybe a 2-hour delay. And that's only if the snow was up to the kindergartners' necks. Like, other than that, we going to school. So when they told me that, I'm like, well, no, I want to come up. I want to be able to enjoy my time. I don't want anybody, having to worry about getting on the roads to take me back and forth to the airport. So I switched the trip. I canceled the day of and rebooked another trip. So I'm buying all these plane tickets too, right? And not use them because y'all know, first of all, I always buy non-refundable, trying to be cheap, and then end up, that's a whole different thing. So I ended up buying new tickets and going in April. Was not paying attention when I rebooked because I did it over the phone, and they were just, doing it really quick because I was talking to them, trying to get some credit from my previous trip, whatever. They end up booking me on connecting flights. We don't do connecting flights. Like, rarely do we do connecting flights because we had a really bad experience with that and got stuck in the Florida airport overnight. So we don't do connecting flights. So somehow I end up on a connecting flight, y'all. And then I end up on 2 very small planes. Like, the first plane was held about 200 passengers, and I only do 757s. So the first plane only carried 200 passengers. The other one, I think it was 75 passengers. And I actually had to walk out on the tarmac to get on the plane, walk outside where the people were loading the luggage onto the plane. Was not good. It was very, very windy. And both flights were horrific. And it wasn't just me with my anxiety. People on the plane were gasping, because it kept dipping. And then the wind was so hard, you can just hear the plane rattling on the outside. It was horrible. Hey, Cece, it was terrible. So what you say? Hey, nope,
CC.
I'll walk. Right. Yeah, it was horrible. And so the way my anxiety set up, I'm like, this is crazy. I don't even know how I had the bandwidth to get on that second flight. But I got on the second flight, and like I said, the second plane was even smaller. Worst flights I have ever had in my life. And I've flown through storms, all kind of stuff, but always in the bigger airplanes. Y'all know I fly all the way to Hawaii. Those are some of the best flights I've ever been on. But this was horrible. I was shaking on the plane. The guy sitting next to me and his little 9-year-old son, they were both scared. They had been in Dallas-Fort Worth for a Mavericks game, but they lived in Pittsburgh. But they were both nervous. He just started chatting with me. He's like, I've never been on a flight this rough before. And I'm like, me either. And so it was just terrible. So I make it to Pittsburgh, and that trip was, hey, Monica, that trip was a little stressful because, again, I said I was visiting a relative who's been ill. She suffered several strokes, and just seeing her like that, and, just a lot of stuff. So it was not the most relaxing, definitely was not a vacation, but I made the best of it, got to invest some quality time with my cousins.
Yes.
And, and just really just try to connect with them because they're going through a lot because that's their mom. They're taking care of her, and they're both younger than me. And, I remember when they were born. And so just trying to encourage them, but it wasn't just this woo-saw relax, right? So I never really got the opportunity to get my mind right from the horrible flight. So I'm telling Wallace every day, I'm still shaken up. I feel like I'm going to have to live here again. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get back home. You're going to have to drive up here and come get me. And the whole time you want to tell him how you were trying to encourage me because I feel like I've been talking the whole time, but I'm talking to Wallace every day, all day while I'm on this trip.
Yeah, I was just trying to encourage you that everything's going to be okay.
No guarantees.
99.9% time, nothing happens. The planes are perfectly safe and everything's fine. Nothing really going too much, going on too much with them. Aside a little normal stuff.
Nothing is normal. 32,000 feet in the air.
But I've ridden on planes with
yeah, he's been on the little hoppers and stuff too.
Yeah, the small, super small planes, some private.
Hey,
planes
backyard
too,
trucker.
So I'm used to kind of some of the small planes and things like that. So it's not that big a deal, but I do care about it. Let's put it like that. I do care about it, and I try if I got an option to avoid turbulence, I generally will avoid it. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. And
But
I
these
know how
weren't
she
just
is.
turbulence, y'all.
Yeah.
This wind was crazy. Like the plane was rattling. So every day he's like, calm down, babe. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to make it home. You know, whatever we
Yeah, I
need
was just
to
trying
do,
to get you in the
whatever.
mindset of, you know, just trying to bring it down. So when it did come back, you'd be fine.
Right. And then, like I said, everything that I'm dealing with up there as well, you know, it was just hard to relax. Like maybe if I was, you know, on a relaxing vacation, I would have been able to get my mind off of it a little bit. But the whole thing was a little bit stressful. So forgot to mention to y'all, and I already knew that my flight coming home was the same thing, a connecting flight on 2 small airplanes. So I have that in my head. But it's time to come home. I was nominated for Minority Business Owner of the Year here in Dallas, Fort Worth. So I had that event to go to the day after I came home, and just some other stuff I needed to do. And plus, I missed my husband. I missed my puppy. I know I needed to come home. She
missed the puppy more.
Whatever. I didn't win Minority Business Owner of the Year, though, but it was still awesome to be nominated, and 2 business owners that I really admire here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area won. So that was great for me. But just to have my name mentioned, hey, Trish, you know, it was awesome. And I didn't want to miss that opportunity to be there. And I'm like, I've only had this business for 5 years, and 2 out of those 5 years was during COVID. So just to have made enough impact to be mentioned was major to me. And I didn't want to miss that. Hey, Sunshine, thank you for tuning in, honey. And so anyway, I needed to get back home. So I said, I'm going to put on my big girl panties. I'm going to the airport. No way, right? No way. The weather has been fine in Pittsburgh since I've been there. It wasn't windy. We hadn't had any storms. I'm like, everything's going to be fine. Thank you, Dawn. Another thing too, we got to Pittsburgh, terrible flooding. The Point had flooded. They had had tons of rain before. And so I was getting there after everything. And so it seemed like I had arrived on the last day of bad weather. One day up there, it was even like 78, 80 degrees, which is like major up there, like a heat wave. We sat out on the patio. And so I'm like, okay, there is no way I'm going to have a rough flight coming home. It's going to be okay. So I get to the airport. I grab a glass of wine from Vino's. Anyone, if you're traveling, if there's a Vino's in the airport, they will give you your glass of wine to go in a little plastic wine glass. So in case you need to get to your gate, just a pro tip, grabbed a glass of wine from Vino's, went down to my gate, and there's no one at the gate desk. You know how you get to your gate and they, you know, if you have any questions or if you're on standby, there's nobody at the gate desk, and there's only like, first of all, I'm the first one at the gate, and I didn't get there super early. I just got there about 45 minutes before my flight because there was a lot of traffic, a lot of construction in Pittsburgh, just a lot going on. So I only got there about 45 minutes before my flight, but it was fine because I didn't have any checked luggage, whatever. I was able to go straight through TSA. I have TSA pre-check. Another pro tip, if you don't have TSA pre-check, you need to get it.
Need to get that.
It could be a lifesaver if you're running late, and it just cuts back on time.
It's better than clear.
Yeah, definitely better than clear. So I get there, I get my wine, I go to my gate, I'm on the phone with Wallace, and I'm like, babe, we're supposed to be boarding in like 20 minutes, and I'm the only one here at the gate. There's not even anybody at the desk. And so we just keep talking. And I'm like, dang, then like a couple of people trickled or end up being like 4 people at the gate. And I know I'm getting on another small plane. Now, this is my mindset, y'all. I'm thinking I'm getting on a small plane and there's only going to be like 4 people on the plane. So if our plane crash, it won't even be a whole lot of people. So it won't even be a big deal. So we could possibly crash because, you know, just thinking this crazy stuff, 4 people on the plane, who cares, right?
I care.
It's not hundreds. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. And like another thing I do, like I always feel better when I get on a plane and there's babies on a plane. I'm like, oh, a plane is never going to crash when there's babies on a plane. Like I'm just a weirdo, right? When I think about certain stuff. I don't know why I'm saying this on the World Wide Web, but y'all better not use this against me. Grammys, I'm so glad you're on here. I owe you your package, Grammys. And Wallace did pack it and put it in a box for me. I am going to mail it tomorrow. I promise. And you know, I always tell y'all, when you win something from me, you are definitely going to get it. But when is always a toss up because I'm horrible at running errands and going to the post office, but I'm so glad you're on, Grammys. Thank you so much for being here. No, I didn't see the Franco Harris. I saw the big dinosaur. I meant to ask people about that, but I didn't see that, Dawn. So this is the first time I've ever been there and not seen it. But anyway, so please give me grace, Grammys. Oh, you laughing at me? Yeah, I'm horrible. I'm horrible. But Wallace got a box for it. He got it packed up for me. I just have to address it and take it to the post office tomorrow. But I'm going to do that for sure. So anyway, I'm still talking to Wallace and I'm like, there is nobody on this plane. Like, who's getting on? But then I look out the window and I'm like, and the plane's still not here and there's nothing on the little TV. So Wallace asked the $1 million question, are you sure you're at the right gate? Now, if you know anything about me, I will always question myself. Like, I'm never the person to be like, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I'm always like, you know what? Let me check because sometimes I'm wrong. I had in my mind without a doubt that I was at gate A10, I believe. And I'm like, I think so, but I pull up my phone and I'm supposed to be at gate A12. I'm like, oh my gosh, Wallace, I'm supposed to be at gate A12 and it's already 15 minutes before takeoff. And if y'all know, they close that door at 15 minutes before takeoff and you're not getting on, because I've been in that situation before too. So now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how did I end up at the wrong gate? Didn't even realize I'm at the wrong gate. Maybe this is a sign, you know, if I miss my flight, I'm not supposed to be there. But gate A10 and gate A12 are right next to each other because it's just like street addresses, even and odd. So I walked down to gate A12 and lo and behold, the flight had been delayed. I didn't even realize it had been delayed, but the flight had been delayed. So I'm still there in plenty of time. Okay, so now I use that as another sign. Hey, I was at the wrong gate. I'm running late. The flight's delayed. Everything is going to be okay, right? All right, still talking to Wallace. It's time for me to board. I tell him, let me hang up so I can get, because I also travel like a bag lady. I got stuff everywhere.
Dragging. I don't know why, but yeah.
Horrible. Oh, you don't like to fly either, Trish? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, as long as you stay downtown, you'll love Pittsburgh. You will love Pittsburgh. The Three Rivers, the stadiums. Yeah. And I could tell you some good places to eat too, girl. But anyway, so I'm getting my stuff. I hang up with him. I get in the seat. I have a window seat. So I want to make sure I get on, you know, so I can get in first. So, you know, I don't have to, you know, worry about anybody else, you know, climbing over them to get to my seat. Put my stuff in the overhead. I sit down. I woosah. I have my glass of wine. I'm like, we good. I'm looking outside. It's nice and sunny. We're good. So I'm sitting on the plane for like 2 minutes. People are boarding and the pilot comes on and says, hey, we're going to need everyone to board as quickly as possible because there is a bad storm coming in and we're trying to get ahead of the storm. Okay. Oh, you're going to Philly. Okay. I don't know nothing about Philly, girl. Yeah. Philly and Pittsburgh, we act like we're on the other side of the world. It's a shame. 2 different cities in the same state, but you see how my facial expression changed. I don't know nothing about Philly. But anyway, so they say, everybody hurry up. We're trying to get ahead of the storm. So I'm looking outside. It looks bright and sunny. So I'm like, okay. They said trying to get ahead of the storm, right, Dawn? Trying to get ahead of the storm. So we're fine. It looks bright and sunny. These planes move fast. So, okay. So I'm sitting there. I'm still good. So then the next thing they say is, well, because of the size of the plane, we have now run out of space in the overhead bins. And so we are now going to need whoever has not got on the plane yet, or maybe pull some people off the plane because we're going to have to check your luggage. Okay, that's fine. But then they make the announcement and say, due to the fact that we're having to check luggage, we are now not going to be able to leave in time to get ahead of the storm. So they are going to try to reroute us. And now they're making sure that we have enough fuel. Y'all following me? We have enough fuel just in case. Just in case what? Right? So I'm like, first of all, why are we having to check to see if we have enough fuel? Like, y'all mugs ain't always filling up every time you land. Like, what do you mean? Like, shouldn't they have filled up the tank? Okay. So I'm still sitting there, y'all. I'm still like, okay, It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Because I got to get home, right? So get ahead of the storm, can't get ahead of the storm, rerouting us, got to fill up the tank. So then they get on and say, we want to let you know that this is going to be a rough flight. We're not going to be able to completely avoid the weather. Therefore, now we're still on the ground. Therefore, we are not going to be able to turn off the seatbelt light at any time during this flight. Say what now? Now, we have not even left yet. And so your radar, your whatever has already let you know that the weather is so bad that at no point during this flight are you going to be able to turn off the seatbelt light. Now, for me, the seatbelt light is always an indicator for me of when I can kind of exhale. Takeoff is always a little for me. And I fly all the time, y'all. But again, it's not my favorite thing. Hey, Amanda, thank you so much for being here, Ladybug. So the seatbelt light for me is always like, okay, once they turn off that seatbelt light, I can kind of chill, start looking at my phone, having conversation. And this is my first time traveling alone in years, so in about 6 years. So that's my indicator of I can relax for a little while. You tell me you're not going to be able to turn it off at all. But again, y'all, I'm still pushing through. But then they come on and say, there will be no drink service on this flight because we need the flight attendants to stay seated the entire time. Only water in emergency circumstances, and they will bring you a bottle of water because they cannot bring the cart out at all. I was done. Y'all, I grew up and my dad traveled all the time. He was a non-destructive test engineer for Westinghouse, and he literally traveled the world. Saudi Arabia, Taipei, Taiwan, all that stuff. 18-hour flights, 22-hour flights. Did not bother him at all. But one thing he always told me is, you don't really ever have to worry about a flight unless they tell the flight attendants to stay seated. Then it's going to be rough. So when they said that, I put up my church finger. For those of y'all who grew up in a Baptist church, y'all know what I mean. Excuse me, ma'am. I need to get off the flight is what I said to the flight attendant. And she leans over and says, excuse me. I said, I need to get off of the flight now. And I guess she could see in my face, oh, she about to lose it. So she's like, okay, no problem. She tells the other people, get up, let her out. She asked me, do you have all your stuff? I said, no, I have stuff in the overhead bin. Okay, is it in this one? Oh, is this yours? She grabs my bag down. I get all my bag lady stuff. I got my headphones, and she just leads me to the front of the plane. And she's like, are you okay? Are you sick? I said, no. I said, but all of those little announcements he's been giving have triggered me. And I had a horrible flight here. And I can't do it. I don't have the mental bandwidth to do it today. And she said, that's fine. Let's get off. So we're like, excuse me, pardon me, because people are still kind of getting on and settling. She's, clearing the way, get me off, because they don't want nobody losing their mind up in the air, and especially during a rough flight. So then we get to the front, and the flight attendant that's at the front, thank you, Janet, a lot, right? The flight attendant who's at the front is like, what's wrong? And so I told her, and she says, oh, honey, I don't blame you because it's going to be a rough one. So now what I didn't tell y'all is because we were running late to get to the airport due to all the traffic and roads being blocked because of the flooding. And then Joe Biden was there that day too, I think. So my cousin had waited like 20 minutes at the airport for me to get to the gate. It's like a 45-minute ride turned into like an hour and a half because of the traffic. So she said, I'm not going to even leave the airport till you tell me you're at your gate. So I let her know when I was sitting at the wrong gate, but I let her know, hey, I'm at my gate. I'm good. Go home. So now I have to call and say, you got to come back and get me. I called Wallace while I was still on the plane and was like, babe, I'm getting ready to get off. And so he's just like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. And he's like, well, that's not what I wanted to hear, but do what you got to do. But y'all, I got off the plane. And so then I booked another flight for the next day on another airline on a regular size plane. And I made it home. But the moral of the story is, yes, way too much. you got to do what you got to do for your mental health and your sanity. And I'm the queen of pushing in and not living in fear. And God has not given us the spirit of fear, but we're still human, made of flesh and blood. And we do deal with anxiety and we deal with panic. And it's great to push through as much as you can, but we all have a mental bandwidth. And it was not going to be good. Like, I hate to say the rational part of my mind, because being afraid that something could happen is not necessarily irrational. And I don't ever want y'all to think that, because stuff happens. So don't let anybody gaslight you into thinking like, well, that's crazy. These planes fly all the time. And thank you, Dawn, and different stuff, because they do. But things have also unfortunately happened. So it's not irrational to have that fear. It's hard, when people let it just totally paralyze them, but don't let people gaslight you into thinking that having any types of concerns and fears is just totally irrational. But there was a part of my brain that was saying the whole time, you're probably going to be fine. You're probably going to be fine. Yes, Amanda said I would have been right behind you, probably ahead of you. Thank you. And that's what everybody said at home too. When I called, I'm like, y'all, I'm still here another night, and then I got to see some relatives that I hadn't seen, during that time. I'm like, hey, I ended up staying another night. Y'all want to get together this evening? But there was a part of me saying it's going to be okay. And I kind of knew it would be okay, but I can't control my feelings, right? And so what I was trying to avoid, not necessarily that I thought, oh my gosh, the plane is going to crash, but just that feeling of anxiety and no control. Because once you're up there, right? And so there's nothing you can do. I can't like just say, oh, I need a break, because when I'm facing some things, like I have issues sometimes whenever I have to go to the dentist. That's why I'm so obsessed about my teeth, because even getting my teeth cleaned can give me anxiety sometimes because they're so close in my face and, whatever. And so I can say I need a break and they can give me a break. Well, I can't do that when I'm on an airplane. So you have to make the choice that is best for you. And so that's the main reason why I wanted to share this, because I know I'm the life coach. I know I'm the one, who's always talking about, not being afraid, do it afraid, but you also have to give yourself grace, and you have to be able to know what your limits are within reason. As long as you're not paralyzed from the fear, if you just have those times where you just need to time out for a minute, because the thing was, I could get home the next day and it was going to cost some money, but my sanity was worth the extra money. It was just, and then having somebody supportive. And so, Wallace, how does it feel being married to somebody who deals with panic and anxiety and having to talk them down? Hey, Nikki, thank you for being here, because you dealt with it pretty well. I thought he was mad at me because he had been sending me texts, he missed me, and then he's sending me Luther Vandross, a house is not a home, because we had been separated for a week and that never happened. So he was really like, I can't wait till you get home. He was like, I feel like Christmas. I don't even want to go to bed. I can't wait to go to bed tonight so tomorrow comes, because he missed me. But I knew he was disappointed, but he handled it very well. And there is a special way. Yeah, eye doctors do it for me too. Yeah, they do it for me too. Anytime people are really in my face.
It's interesting.
Oh, you always say it's interesting being with me.
It's interesting. It has his moments of you can say challenge, but it has its moments of opportunities. Put it that way. Like I say, I just want you to be comfortable.
She said, Nikki said, spill the tea, Wallace.
I just wanted her to be okay. That was the biggest thing to me. The money, it is what it is. I just wanted her to be okay. That's why I said, you got to be comfortable. You got to be okay. So do what you got to do.
Well, I bet you did want to get to bed.
Yeah, I just want her to be comfortable and be safe. That's the whole deal. We deal with stuff differently. It's like really hadn't had a situation like that where we've been that far apart, and something like that kind of goes down like that. But
and that's what I wondered. I was like, if he was on the plane with me, I wondered if I would have been able to stay on the plane. But then I asked him, if you were on the plane with me and I couldn't stay on the plane, would you have, of course he would get off with me, but would he have like been like more upset, like, babe, I'm with you. But he was like, no, I would have got off with you, because it's just, let me see. So would you have stayed? Oh, that's what you were asking. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I would have stayed on even if I was with Wallace. Because again, it's like Wallace can't do nothing about that. And I'm going to feel the way I'm feeling. I can't say 100%, but what was so most important to me, even though
me, would I have stayed on the plane?
So would you have stayed on the plane, Wallace, by yourself? Oh, okay. Yeah. Would you have stayed on the plane?
No, I would have got off the plane.
No, if you were by yourself.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I've flown on small planes and in turbulence and things like that. That didn't, it doesn't phase me that much because I've traveled quite a bit. So I would have been okay. Yeah, I would have stayed. I'd have been by myself, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, Jody. See, I'm looking over at Facebook, y'all. Facebook and whatchamacallit, YouTube don't play well. But now I see, hey, y'all, welcome back home, sis. Yeah, girl, it was rough. I almost didn't come back home. That's what I told Wallace. And the thing is, I'm so glad that I decided to stay in Pittsburgh that extra night because my layover that time was in Chicago. I don't know anybody in Chicago. So can y'all imagine if I would have had a rough flight? And y'all know it's always windy in Chicago and we're going through weather.
I got some contacts in Chicago.
I'm not
I want to make sure you was okay.
No, I'll be like, no, I don't know them. But yeah, so that was the thing too.
They connected. You'd have been fine.
It made sense. It made sense just to do what I did. Oh, hell no, I needed a drink. Right, girl. And even with that, because I had taken my anxiety medicine, had my glass of wine, but
CC cuts me no slack. You see that?
Wallace might would have had the chance to swim with the shark. Oh my God.
CC cuts me no slack.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, Janet. Well, that is good to know. That is good to know because I would have needed some rescuing because I know, Chicago is windy anyway, the windy city. Then you talking about bad weather. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but I made it home the next evening. At first, I didn't think I was going to be able to come home till the weekend, but then there was one flight with one seat left. So I came home the very next day. And I came home to flowers and candy and wine and a perfectly cleaned house and some organization had been done and some things done in the yard. Because that's the good thing. I be forgetting with Wallace whenever the times that I do go away, because every once in a while I might have to go away for a night or 2 nights for a speaking engagement, but it's usually just local, like to Houston or San Antonio or whatever. But I always come home to great things done in the house because, he misses me. So then he keeps himself busy. So I'm like, I need to go away more often. But yeah, my next flight isn't real soon. But yeah, it was rough. It was rough. So
we go to Mexico, the first week of July?
Yeah, we go to Mexico. Yeah, we're going on another trip on Thursday, but we're going to be driving. So that's good. But again, I take flights. I mean, I've flown 8 hours time and time again, but it just, it just depends. And that's what I told him. I'm glad I have some time to get my mind right. The flight home wasn't perfect. It was a little annoying, but I probably wouldn't have had any issues with the flight that I ended up getting home had my experience previously been, better. But of course, every little thing kind of shook me a little bit, but it was a regular flight.
Yeah, I probably would have went on there and went to sleep. So
yeah, there's no way. But you don't like that roller coaster dip feel, and that's how it was feeling on there. Like when you actually can feel yourself. Yeah. And that seatbelt light, like I said, when he said that the flight attendants can't get up. No, we're not doing this today. And then I was checking. I'm like, okay, everybody made it safely. I'm glad. And again, I know that this happens all day, every day, but you just have to, be in check with your mental. I definitely believe in pushing yourself, pushing through your anxiety, pushing through your fear. But if you're someone who does that consistently, give yourself grace if there's times when you can't. And I'm not just saying it just because it's me. I
definitely didn't want to hear that on the news. Plane was averted for woman, flipping out on the plane, had to land someplace else,
And see, and that's the thing too. I am the person who kind of tends to suffer in silence. So I worry about like causing myself a heart attack or a stroke because I'm not going to give any outwardly, I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to cry and holler and scream. So that's the thing. And keeping it in sometimes is worse. And so I'm like, I already have high blood pressure. And so I'm just aware of all that stuff. As much as I manage my panic and anxiety, as much as I help others manage theirs, there are just those times when enough is enough. And so it had been a very rough week. It had been a rough time getting there. And so I'm just like, I'm not putting my body through all that stress just to get home a day earlier. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I do because I don't have the outburst. I don't say anything. And so my chest is tight. My heart is pounding. My breathing is labored. I mean, and if you didn't know me, you probably wouldn't even realize what I was going through. And so, hey, Miss T, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, you probably wouldn't even notice what I was going through. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm at capacity. Like this, I've done all that I can do. I need to get off, get a good night's sleep. And that's what I did. And so I still made it home in time for the awards. There was nothing lost. See,
that's what I was worried about, Amanda. With her.
My panic and anxiety would have had the plane landed quick. Right. Yeah. And that's why I know they hurried me off there so quick. People say that about me. I mask it really well. Yeah, I do. But I know that's why they were getting me off there because they don't want nobody up there, because they can't do anything but emergency, an emergency landing. And so, and I sat as long as I could. And I just realized one thing after another. And, I'm having a conversation in my mind. Am I going to stay on this plane or am I going to get off? Am I going to stay? Because whenever I deal with stuff like that, it's not a plan. Like I have no idea what I'm going to do until I do. It's just like, okay, I'm going to go as far as I can. But once they made that last announcement, I'm like, I'm not going to be miserable for the next couple of hours dealing with this stuff. And then I'm not getting caught in Chicago. So, I called Wallace and I said, all I need you to do is tell me it's okay. And he's like, yeah, it's okay. If that's what you need to do, it's okay. And so I got off that daggone plane, y'all. On my flight to Vietnam, I was so scared. Then I said a prayer and looked up on the big screen and these words were on there. Tell me your dreams. Tell me your fears. I'm with you. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Just something that's calming.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah. There's something that's calming. And that's what I tried to do too. I tried to pray. And that's the thing too. When you get to a point where your anxiety is so high, your thoughts and mind can be so clouded. And so, it's hard to even have that peace to say the prayer. Like I had already prayed before I got on the plane. I prayed once I got on. But then when they kept hitting me with those things back to back, because a couple of times I'm telling myself, okay, just calm down, just say a prayer, just calm down. But there's so much going on in my mind now. I couldn't even do it. I asked my dad about it later. He said, nope, I didn't see that. Oh, wow. Ooh. Wow. That was your own private message. I love it. But yeah, I just didn't even have the capacity to get myself. Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah, I just didn't even have the mental bandwidth to get to that capacity. But I got home. I was able to do everything I needed to do.
She made it where she's supposed to be.
Yeah, I got here in one piece, mentally and physically. Everybody else got to their destinations the way they were supposed to. I look at it this way too. It was a packed flight, so at least the ladies I was sitting with were able to spread out and have a seat empty in between them if they wanted to. Somebody got a window seat who wasn't looking for a window seat. I mean, it was a win-win, I guess. Like I said, I got to see a couple of relatives that I hadn't got a chance to see the other days while I was there, and spend some quality time with them and have some good conversations. It worked out, nothing was lost but some money, and money can never be a motivator for anything. Money can never be. Money's not the reason why I'm going to put my mental health at risk. Money is not, it's just money can't be it. So, oh yeah, Miss T, you got to catch the replay. I talked about my crazy flights and my experience. Yeah, but I've been going for a minute, so I missed y'all. I didn't even vlog that much. I have some things recorded, but I really don't know how I'm going to put them all together, just, depending. But again, the way that trip was set up, it wasn't like just a pleasure trip. And then I never want to invade anybody's privacy. And, we're dealing with sickness and health issues, and then just spending that quality time. Pittsburgh is a beautiful city. I wish I would have recorded more.
How much do you think it's changed since you've been there last?
Oh, a lot has changed, but more than what has changed, it stayed the same. It has. Got to eat some of my favorite foods, Minio's Pizza, Permani's Brothers, Capri's Wings. So I got something different every day while I was there. And like I said, it was a good visit, but it wasn't vacation. So, got to see a couple of my little baby cousins that I had never met. And they're 3 and, well, no, I had met Kendall before, but oh, well, I need you to resubscribe, Miss Cece. I don't know why they do that. Cause it's like I'm up to like 650, 660 people now, but it's like as soon as I gain 5 subscribers, then I lose 2. And I'm like, I know people aren't just going on here and intentionally just unsubscribing. I was in West Mifflin for one night. Yeah, I was in Homestead the rest of the time, but yeah, I was in West Mifflin a little bit. Okay, 663. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. Yeah, but they do that. I'll get a few. But yeah, I rode through West Mifflin. Like my house that I grew up in is not even there anymore. Somebody bought it to do something, tore it down, and then didn't build anything. So things like that are different. I did drive down my street in Homeville. Yeah, that's the name of my neighborhood, y'all, Homeville. So I drove down that street. That was it. I didn't even go past the high school or anything like that, but it was cool. I saw some people that I had gone to school with just happened to be out and about. Ran into a couple of people. So it's always cool to go home. It's a bittersweet kind of, whatever. But I plan on Homeville homies. Yes, girl. Yes, that's our old stomping grounds. But yeah, I plan on trying not to make it so long until I go back again, because, things are happening. Family members are passing away. Unfortunately, I lost one of my uncles a few weeks ago in a car accident, and I wasn't able to get up there then because I was actually in Hawaii and everything happened so quick. It just wasn't enough time for me to get back. So, it's always good to go home, but time just goes so fast and you get so busy with life and, making that time. And that's why, even though I had to cancel due to the storm, I made sure that I rebooked right away, because had I not booked that flight right away, who knows when I would have ended up, because there's always something, right? There's always something. Thank you so much, Nikki. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, he passed away suddenly. And so, quite a few of my aunts and uncles have passed. I've lost 6 aunts and uncles in the past 9 years. And so that's been kind of odd, just almost back to back. But this one was sudden. He wasn't sick. It was sudden and tragic. Well, now you're a Texan. Yeah, right. I've been here. I've been gone from Pittsburgh for 25 years, but I've been in Texas for just about 20. But when I first left Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I moved to Virginia Beach, Virginia, which was awesome. I felt like I was on vacation all the time. I lived there for about 5 years. I always say I lived there for 8 years. And then I realized, I'm like, I did not live in Virginia for that long, because I moved here in 2006, I guess, and I moved to Virginia in 99. So I was there, I guess, about 6 years. But yeah, I felt like I was on vacation all of the time. But yeah, y'all, it has been something else. Janet, you ready to come up and ask your question, boo? Because I don't really have a topic tonight. I just wanted to chit chat with y'all. Sunday is our regular night. And since I didn't have a vlog to go up today, I'm like, we definitely have to get on. But I've been so sleepy since I got home too. Like I said, it was a mental.
You compared to living in the Serengeti.
Yeah.
It's on the head on the swivel all the time.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. So I've been sleepy. I think I was just mentally drained. I was mentally drained, and the experience was not, the experience left me a little, so I'm just getting myself back acclimated. I lost a couple of pounds while I was there still. So even eating all my food, y'all know I'm on this you talked yourself off the ledge. Well, that's good. That is good. I'm glad. Okay. Well, everybody, the link is there if anybody wants to jump on, if anyone has a flight story to share.
Come on up, Janet.
She said she talked herself off the ledge, babe. You can't be forcing people to come.
I didn't want to force her. I just wanted
yeah, you can't do that. In other words, she's saying, I don't want to talk to y'all tonight. I'm good. I'm good. But no, but the link is there if anyone wants to jump up and share a travel story, or if anybody has any questions or anything they want to chat about. I'm over here checking to see what's going on. Hey, Angela, I don't know if you're still on over there on Facebook, but yeah, it was something else. So now I have a busy week ahead. My phone is tripping. I can see y'all, but I can't hear you. Girl, Jody is so funny, her and her technology. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Janet said, hold on, I'll come up. She told you she had that washing machine.
She said she
going.
changed her mind, though, about something.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was trying to think of something else I wanted to tell y'all. Oh, she said, no, I didn't mean it like that. No, I know you didn't mean it like that. No, I said what she said. She don't want to talk to y'all.
Oh.
But yeah, so anybody have any trips planned anytime soon? I hope not. Hey, Janet, how are you?
Sorry, I am in front of the pot of herbs doing herb preservation stuff as we're chatting.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. What's up, girl?
Hey, so, okay, here's my dilemma, and I'll tell you my solution, and maybe you guys will have some better. Let me do this so I can actually see you.
Oh, good, Jody. Thanks for welcoming me back, sis. It's good to be back. It was rough getting here, but thank you.
Hey, Nikki. Okay, so here's my dilemma. My husband reminded me today that he is taking next weekend off. He works weekends, so he's going to be off for 11 days. 11 days here in the house where I work. It does sound great, except I have to accomplish tasks. I'm launching my business in 2 weeks. 13 days, actually, to be exact.
Right.
Are you going to put him to work?
I don't think I really, well, I may make him go out with me into the woods and forage some, which will actually be really, really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk to him and have a conversation and say, you know, it makes me really anxious thinking about trying to get everything ready in these 11 days without being able to have a routine or a plan. Because I have a routine for my days when he goes to work, but the days that he doesn't go to work, we just kind of do whatever.
Right.
But right before I launch my business might not be the ideal time to not have a plan and a routine.
But
so
Janet, we spoke about that, though, about making sure you stay disciplined in what you're doing and just kind of plan out your days and things like that. And like I say, now you got an extra set of hands.
Yeah.
You know, and that can help you out a lot if you guys working together to get this lunch. So
I want to hear, what was your solution?
I was just going to talk to him and kind of see if we could make a schedule together. Like certain things that I have to get done each day, which is on me to plan them that day or the day before. Like before I can do fun stuff or hang out with you or watch movies or whatever, I've got to get done X, Y, and Z for today. And then kind of like maybe him pick out one thing he wants to do and me pick out one thing I want to do that day and try and find some balance, because I've been struggling because he went from working 6 days a week to working 3, which is good. He needed to not work 6 days a week, but that adjustment has been really, really, really rough. Rough on him, rough on me. He usually works nights, so the sleep schedule thing is crazy, switching back and forth. but it just like it makes it really hard because I don't feel like I have control of what's happening.
Mhm.
I can't really plan. Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
change. And I don't do well with change. I'm very like when things change or when I don't have control, a little bit of a control freak.
Right. Well, see, but that's the thing, you know, I always say about the triple A. So you're aware. And so then you hold yourself accountable and then you take action. And so you're aware of all of that. And so just holding yourself accountable to say that sometimes you do have to let go of all of the control and that change is necessary and it's normal. And so what I would suggest is your plan is great. Just have that conversation with him that, hey, I love the fact that you're going to be home so many days and I want to spend time with you. However, I have the business stuff going on. So anything that you can be included in with the business stuff, that's great. I would love to have your help. But other than that, maybe, you know, every day from 8 to 1 o'clock, you know, I'm doing business stuff. And then after that, it's your turn, you know, and just things like that. But it's just about having the conversation. But did you see what Nikki said? She talking about, sorry to hear that, Janet.
see, it is probably an OCD thing. And what's really annoying is like, I know he's going to be going back to 6 days a week of work soon. And so like, I have this limited time to enjoy him, but I also have this limited time to get ready for my business. Like,
right. And so, and this is an odd time too. Like if you were just now launching your business, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So I'm sure your husband's reasonable. He'll understand that. He may be excited about helping you.
Yeah. Because that's quality. That's quality time there. You guys spending that time working together. That's quality time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
It's a
and since my business involves a lot of going out into nature and picking herbs, I mean, he's all about that. So,
seeing him.
I mean, in theory, but he's pretty camera shy, actually. So, I don't know.
He's not like
sure.
this one.
No, James. I was doing a live with a couple that we watch their YouTubes all the time, and James came in and said hi before the live, and then when we ended the live and then had a like post live chat, James came in, but he didn't come in at all during that live.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I'm good.
It's not for everybody. It's not. It's not for everybody. Let's see. Oh, Jamie has said congratulations. Cece said, I would love to have my boo home for 11 days.
Honestly, anytime but this one, I would too. Like, because he works so much.
Jamie said, Cece, I would love to have a boo.
Fair.
Scheduling sounds good and fair. Yeah. Let me see. I understand. Hey, Tori, thank you so much for being here. Cece and Jamie, I need to check your temperature. Listen to Nikki. Oh, my goodness. Nikki, don't tell me you're on the Man Haters Club. What's wrong with y'all? But no, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
My biggest thing with everything, it starts with just having the conversation.
Yeah.
Just have the conversation and you may find that it's not even a big deal at all, where he's like, oh, I know, you know, that you got stuff going on. Don't worry about it. Do what you got to do. You know, as long as you make that quality time, and y'all might end up doing more stuff together than you even thought.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be fine.
But definitely if you plan
don't
it.
overthink it.
You guys playing around stuff. It's definitely going to make it more beneficial for both of you, for the business and for, you know, you guys' relationship and the quality time.
Yeah, I think it'll be
it's going to
good.
be great, Janet.
Yeah, don't get in your head too much about it. That's what you tend to
do. Too late. I'm going to try it out of my head, though.
Yeah, just relax. So when does this start?
Tomorrow.
Oh, girl. You fine.
Yeah, he reminded me today that it was a thing.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said that when you first jumped on. Yeah.
I totally didn't. It didn't click. Like, I knew he was taking some days off, but it didn't click that it was how it was going to fall in, you know, regards to everything else going on.
Right. And you've been so involved with the other stuff. But like I said, it'll probably be nice to have another set of hands on deck.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely will be.
All that. So, yeah, I think you're going to be fine. I know you're going to be fine. Great. You're going to have a good time. Yeah.
Thanks for helping me find my way off the ledge.
Yes. I appreciate you for coming up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, y'all are always welcome up here anytime, anytime. It's not just about us. So we love chatting with y'all. But yeah, it's going to be fine. And y'all know I say that for anybody. Anytime there's anything that you have any, you know, confusion about, or you're not sure how the other person is going to respond, or just not knowing how to deal with it, it's just a conversation. You said men are great, needed, and valuable. Okay. Needed and valuable. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're for more than just fixing things and killing bugs.
But the fixing things and killing bugs is good too, even though I can kill my own bugs, but I can't fix nothing at all. I see that wink. Nikki, you're repeating that to yourself like a mantra. Yes. That's so funny. I know, because that little wink came in. Hey, Tim, how are you? But the whole thing too is about, you know, just the right people, right? You know, whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, or whatever, you know, people in general are valuable and needed. Okay, you were saying hey to Tim. Okay, valuable and needed. But, you know, it's just having the right people in your life, the right people having access to your life, and then just being willing to have those conversations even sometimes when they are difficult. So I am glad we got to chat with you about that, Janet, and
good to see you, though,
everything is
Tim.
going to be fine.
Things happen. Life be lifing.
He said late for my own funeral. I said, oh my gosh, I saw a funeral. That's so funny. You're not late. Whenever you tune in is a good time. My husband is about to retire. I work from home. It's going to be new territory here. Yeah, we just dealt with that. And, you know, it was great for us, but this is our first time ever being home all day, every day together for the most part. Of course, we have to separate, take different meetings and stuff like that. But we just found that balance, because the biggest thing for us is because we're so goofy. We had to make sure that we made time for work, right? Because when he first came home, it was like, oh, party time. He's home. And, you know, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Don't nobody have no jobs around here. We got to work.
See, I run a tight ship. So we had to get things in order around here.
He don't run no tight ship. He was hard to break in. He was chilling. But I had to let him know. I'm like, hey, we don't have jobs, partner. You came home to help me run this business. But so we have separate offices. My office is upstairs. His office is downstairs. And that's how we worked a lot to begin with when he first came home. However, when he wasn't home, I rarely used my office. I was always sitting right here where y'all see me in this kitchen area. And so that's what's bad, because now I'm still downstairs a lot and we need to be separated, because I'll just go in his office and sit down and start talking. And it's like, yeah, quit it. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of change and adjustment. You just have to make it work. But, you know, it's about, again, boundaries as well, because even when you're together all the time as a couple, you know, it should be enjoyable, right? None of us should be dreading having our spouses be home all the time, but you also still need your personal time and your private space as well. And you should both have a healthy amount of time on your own. And it just kind of happens. Like, it's nothing that we have to plan. Like, the thing is, before Wallace was home all the time and he was, you know, off to work and we were separated all day, every day, we rarely were in separate rooms in the house because we weren't together all day. But now, since we're both here all the time, oh, you just want to keep that comment up from Tim? I just thought it was funny. Let me see. Watch it while Stae might put a knock. Yeah. You just want to keep that up. Yeah, you can go ahead and keep that up.
No, we take that down.
You can go ahead and keep that up. I like that. We'll just keep that one up. But, you know, so now we do find ourselves in separate rooms more now than we did before, you know, where he might be watching a movie or sports in one room and I'm watching my, you know, killer stuff on my TV. So that, you know, we just separate in the house a little bit more because, you know, we don't want to be in each other's face. Absolutely, Tim. And same here. You keep us laughing the time. We appreciate you. But yeah, so that's just the kind of stuff that's a little bit different. Like, it's not, you know, It's not the same, but different because you need your time. I hope that makes sense because I was trying to read comments and interact at the same time as I was saying things. But yeah, just still having your space and not feeling smothered, but also making sure that you continue to spend time together and don't take it for granted that you're home together all the time, and still do your date nights and still have your conversations and your pillow talk and all that kind of stuff.
One of the biggest things is being able to separate work from home life or work from pleasure.
Yeah, and we do have, unless we have like events or something in the evening, we still have like work hours. We still kind of do lunch at the same time together. Things like that. You know, we get our coffee in the morning, and
we call our kitchen the break room.
So yeah, the kitchen is the break room during the day. Yeah. The kitchen is the break room. Oh my goodness, yes. I don't know what I do without laughter. And we laugh and joke a lot. We don't take ourselves too seriously at all. We laugh, joke all the time. But yeah, just setting those boundaries and making sure that you're intentional and still intentional about your relationship. And I just can't stress it enough. Don't just take it for granted, the fact that you're both home together all the time, that you're having that quality time you need. Still pay just as much attention to your relationship as you did before, because sometimes when people get home, it, you know, kind of separates them a little bit because you just feel like, well, we're always together, but are you spending quality time together? So we just have created that healthy balance of, you know, we don't always have to be together because we have that opportunity to, so we don't want to smother each other, but we also are intentional about the quality time. But y'all be fine too, Dawn. I'm looking forward to it because now that you're working from home, that'll be fun, y'all, with Maisie and whatever. So that's going to be a good time, a really good time. It's so good chatting with y'all again this evening. It has been forever. I'm looking forward to getting on my regular schedule. I'm going to be live again tomorrow. I usually have all of my content planned out, which I really do still have it planned out, but I haven't looked at that list. I took my laptop with me to Pittsburgh, but I did drop one video one day while I was there that I had already edited and had ready to drop before I left. And then I had a couple of Zoom meetings and that was it. So I haven't looked at my content schedule. So I have no idea what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, but I will definitely be back tomorrow. And then, like I said, I have some vlog footage, but it's so choppy, it's going to be a little more difficult to edit than normal, just because, you know, I got to piece it together. Oh, you're welcome, Dawn. You're welcome. Quality time is my love language. Oh, that's Wallace's. You like quality time too. And so do I. But my love language is gifts, which can be kind of embarrassing to say, but my love language is gifts as far as I love to give gifts. Now, there's the doorbell and there's y'all crazy nephew. Who's that? Probably Jasmine bringing back the truck. Your daughter borrowed Wallace's big old 18-wheeler. Oh, she hasn't borrowed. Oh, I thought she was bringing it back. So they're moving into a new house. Hey, how are you, Chris? I remembered this time. Hey, tapped in. But yeah, my love language is gifts, but it's giving gifts. I love to give people gifts. So it's getting gifts is cool, but quality time and touch. Yeah, see, and that's like Wallace too. Yeah. So good to see you. Laughter is everything when I'm with y'all. That's all we do, girl. Yes, we always have a good time when we're together. Always. It was so good to be able to hang out with you. I think I was with you at your event the day before I left out of town. So yeah, we have a good time with my girl Jody for sure. Okay, everybody's saying hello. But y'all hear that dog barking like he is crazy. But yeah, our daughter and grandkids, their little family is all moved. They're moving into a new house, and so they're borrowing the truck to move some stuff around. I don't know why. I told y'all I've been so tired. I have fallen asleep. I thought they came and got the truck earlier while I was sleeping and they were bringing it back. But yeah, they just coming to pick it up and he losing his mind. But yeah, knowing your love language is important too. So I'm so glad so many of y'all know your love language. I really like, for me, my love language for me is, what is it? Acts of service. Like, it just means so much to me when people do things for me, like little things. And so like, that's why I love, like, when I'm away and I come back and Wallace does little things in the house. I don't know, that just shows me that you care. And especially when it's not like the regular stuff, like he'll organize my stuff for me, you know, because he knows I can be all over the place. And I'm somebody who is very difficult for me to ask people to do things for me. So when people just do things for me that I need to have done, I just appreciate it so much. Like, I'm always telling him, you know, how many times since I've been home have I told you were awesome? When I see other little stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so awesome. Like, I'll notice something else that he did. And I'm like, you did this? Oh my gosh, you're so awesome. Like, just little things. So yeah, so my love language to other people is gifts, and love language for me is acts of service. I love, you know, it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel, appreciated and cared about. My daughter's is words of affirmation. Oh, that's good too. Yeah, I think my youngest son is a words of affirmation.
I think so too.
Person. Yeah. Oh, and Janet says she likes words of affirmation. I give a lot of words of affirmation. I don't know. Words of affirmation aren't, like I said, I'm pretty simple. Acts of service. That's going to help me out with something. Help me out. Take something off my plate. That's what makes me feel good. Because again, like I said, I need help a lot of times with things, and I don't ask. So when people just do it, it's just like, oh my gosh. It really makes me feel good. So let me see. I don't give a lot of words of affirmation, but when I do, they are deep. Oh, yeah. I do a lot of words of affirmation because look what I do, right, for a living in my coaching and all of that. So a lot of what I do, and with soft skills and emotional intelligence, I give a lot of words of affirmation and touch. And Chris just saying, hey, but that's good. It's good to know your love language. And those are conversations that are good to have with people as well, you know, when you're entering into relationships. Because people don't always know right off the bat what it is, but there's no shame in letting people know so that they can communicate with you the most effectively and be able to allow you to feel valued and heard and appreciated. And if they're trying to speak to you in a love language that doesn't resonate with you, they may have all those feelings for you, but not, you know, be able to communicate because they don't know your love language. Husband is on break now, chatting with him on Facebook about the upcoming 11 days. Perfect. I love it, Janet. My love language is quality time. I am not surprised, Jody. And you invest a lot of quality time with your family and friends. Quality time, but no touchy.
Oh, see? That's what needs to come up and talk. You know?
I know.
Not that way, yeah. Whatever you want to, CC.
CC cracks me up. It's always fun with CC. But yeah, that's me too. It's like quality time is good. But again, like even with the touch and whatever, that's not as important to me, but I know that's important to him. So there's things that, you know, I make sure that I do that might not just come naturally to me, but I make sure, like, I grab his hand from time to time. I give him random hugs. I snuggle up to him because he likes it, but I have to be intentional about that. And it's not that I don't like it. It's just not stuff that always just comes natural to me because I didn't grow up in a very, you know, touchy family. Like there wasn't a lot of hugs and kisses in my house. Like that's just not how I grew up. And so I'll tell y'all something funny is when I was carrying my oldest son, I already knew the kind of person I was. So I literally prayed and asked God to give me that nurturing because even though I didn't have it, I still saw where it could be important. Like I saw in other families. So I wanted to be that lovey-dovey, huggy, kissy with my kids. And I prayed and asked God to give that for me. But it's funny when they say, like, be careful what you pray for or be specific in your prayers because God gave it to me, but still just for my kids. So I am very, you know, like, oh, with my kids and my grandkids or whatever, but still I'm just not that overall type of person. And so, but I am intentional, you know, to be affectionate with Wallace and let him know because that is important to him. And so when you're in relationships, it is important to ask those questions and have the conversations, and don't just be like, oh, well, touch isn't my love language, or words of affirmation isn't my love language. If it's theirs, then be intentional about implementing that in your relationship, even if it's just with them. It's not changing who you are. It's just tweaking certain things about you so that you can be the person that you desire to be for your significant others. What do you mean, touchy? I don't know, who was that. Cece gonna have to tell you what she means. Yeah. I'm like that with my kids, but I didn't grow up with a C. Yeah. So we're in the same boat. We are in the same boat. While I'm getting ready to launch a business in 13 days. It's fine. You got this, Janet. You got it. You got it. I understand, Stae, because I grew up in a similar situation. Yeah, so it's kind of like you end up just, what you're used to. But, I knew the link is, I pinned it at the top. I think if I didn't, let me put it in there again. I just put it in there, CC. If I didn't, I guess it didn't pin the first time. Let me start it. There it is. But yeah, you just, when you realize things, and that's what I love, because, so many times people are just a product of their environment, which isn't always a negative thing. But sometimes, you have some negative things or traumatic things that have happened in the past, and you realize that are just certain things that you want to do differently. Good night, Tim. Yeah, I know. Yeah, good night. You have a good week, and we'll be back on tomorrow, or at least I will. But thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, and then you can just recognize that and just make decisions to change it. And that's what I did with some of the things. Cece the Great. Hey, Cece.
I figured I had to come explain myself.
Yes. I want to know, what does this mean?
Well, pretty much I feel like it's like overstimulating me. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody like rubbing your back, and it's like they rub your back so long, it's like, okay. Or that kind of thing. It's like, it's nice at first, and then it's like starts to like, I don't know.
Please explain, CC.
No, but how are you saying please explain? What do I say to you sometimes? He knows. What do I say? Please, see, I get it. I'll be like, okay, that's enough rubbing.
Right. And I'm like, I'm not trying to, and then like, I'm not gonna touch you at all. But I'm like, that's not what I mean. I just mean like, don't stimulate me in the same spot, like on my shoulder or rubbing my shoulder so long. I'm like, okay, I can't even think of nothing you're saying, because all I can feel is you rubbing my shoulders.
Right. No, I get it, Cece. I do that to him all the time. And I try not to, like, I don't want to come off as rude or like, I don't want you. And it's especially with this one, when we're going to sleep, like that's too much. Like I'm never going to fall asleep if you keep doing that.
Yes.
Never.
So yes.
Yeah. So
I get it. You Stae, how would you say it in a positive way that you're not coming off rude to them or rejecting, but yet for them to understand?
It's a conversation. Like, to me, since you already know that about yourself, it's a conversation that you can have, not in the moment, right? So it's a conversation that you like, maybe endure it one day, like if it happens and it's a new relationship and you've never dealt with it before, and then have the conversation. Or if it's a relationship that you've already been in and you haven't really expressed it, just have the conversation at another time. Like, this is just
Wallace is cracking me up. I know. He giving you all these looks like, okay.
We had the conversation.
This is always the question on that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you rub him back?
No.
That's when that explains a little bit more why it's possible that you feel that way then.
Okay.
Because you're not a giver, not a giver in that way.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I have to be, like I said, intentional with him to do certain things.
Right. Does he ever say anything to you about you rubbing him?
Why are you saying rubbing?
What else? He said,
no, I mean, like we'll hold hands, or our massage his back, something like that, or he's good with that.
Do you do it without him asking, or you just do it?
Yeah, I just do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
good.
That's good. Because at first he would have to ask, and then I'm better. I'm reading the comment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But now I'm better with it. But like I said, my answer to everything is always going to be a conversation. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, just have a conversation and then explain. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. It's not that I don't appreciate it. I love the fact that you want to be affectionate with me, but it's just the way I'm set up. I just have a limit on how much, I can take. And so now I can just be rude to him because he knows better. So I just be like, that's enough touching. And he gets it. And see, and a lot of times too, he does certain things just to irritate me. He likes to pick at me. And so it's like, you can get to that point where you have the conversation and then almost it's like neither one of you are taking it that seriously anymore because he gets it. He understands you. And, the main thing is just letting them know with men that it's not you. It's not about you at all. This is just how I'm wired.
Well, let me just say it this way, coming from a man who does the touching and the rubbing. The conversation, we talk about this all the time. Communication is so key, and she's dead on with it. Just have the conversation about it, and be open. I always tell couples to be open because we talk about relationships and stuff. It's about give and take. It is. Sometimes you got to endure a little more, because that's just what it is, and kind of sometimes it's stepping out of your comfort zone. That's a big part of it. And being open to that opens those other doors to to intimacy and things like that. Just being open and willing to endure. I hate to say it like that, but willing to.
Yeah, I mean, because there is compromise. I mean, because there's times too, like with Wallace, where I'm like the countdown is going on in my head, like okay, 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and then to say something.
Right, because you don't want to seem rude or, especially, nice mood and everything. And you're like, and all you can think is that rubbing is starting to rub and my skin rubbing off. I feel like my skin's about to rub off.
Well, see, is he trying to set the mood?
Well, like maybe cuddles after, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
there's a space.
Yes, no, but I
that
get
is
it.
A conversation.
I get it, but it's just having a conversation.
Yeah, we're talking about setting the mood, or
because have you had the conversation at all?
Not before. Well, I try to endure and just,
No, just have the conversation. Yeah,
you gotta have the conversation.
Have the conversation, and then compromise. And again, like if he becomes defensive at all or feels like, oh, you hurt my feelings, just say, I'm not saying not at all. I just want you to be okay that when I tell you it's enough that you don't feel insulted.
Right.
It's like, and just explain the love language thing, to him and just, because what are your love languages?
The quality time is, spending quality time, not just spending time, because that has to be explained as well, because people think, well, we're in the same room together. It's, we spend the time. And I'm like, no, I need quality time. Like we're conversating, we're engaging in conversation or,
y'all
something
cuddling.
like that. Huh?
Or y'all cuddling like time, right?
See, listen to him.
Well, yes. But quality time is mine. And like gifts, we kind of me and him talked about that because kind of trying to figure out love language and things like that. And
see, that's a conversation you definitely want to have, while y'all are sitting, at dinner or riding in the car. Just bring up the conversation. I would say the wrong time to have this when the rubbing is going on.
Yeah, that's why I said, you might door another time before the conversation.
That may not come off the right way at that particular time.
It didn't.
Talk about a mood killer. See,
right? It was like, I'm just not gonna touch it. Well, then it was just all
sensitive. Men are sensitive, but having the conversation is, and like I said, most conversations need to be had. See. Just that little bit done got on my nerves. But most conversations need to be had at a time where whatever it is isn't going on in that moment,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But yeah, we're all different. We're all different, but you'll be good. Yeah, just tell him and just say, hey, as long as if I say I'm good on that for now, then you good, then we're fine.
Start rubbing on him.
But that is
He
irritating.
likes that though.
Oh, you know that's gonna lead to something else, huh?
It leads to more rubbing me.
Right, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, and they hopefully he gets it. Because again, with this one, we had the conversation. He claims he gets it. I didn't want to take hers down because I wanted to address it, but he just does it to irritate me. But that's the thing. If y'all can have the conversation and learn not to take it too seriously, then it won't be that big of a deal where it could just be like, dude, all right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think. Let's see. Tap 10 said, my friend grew up in that environment. How do you break through it to allow yourself to be able to express love growing up, not knowing how to? That's the thing. I literally prayed about it. And again, it didn't come to me full force. Like I prayed for that affection for my children, and that's exactly what I got. I still was weird about, and especially like moving to Texas, everybody want to greet you with a hug. That took me a long time to get used to. And so it's baby steps, but it's also, again, about being intentional. And being with Wallace and even his family helped me a lot because his family, you know, they're huggers and, you know, they're I love you. Because again, I tell my boys, I could talk to them 10 times a day. Every time we hang up that phone, I'm going to say I love you. But it's only with them. But Wallace, with him and his aunties, his uncles, they all do that. But that's just nothing that I ever grew up with. So I had to be intentional about it. And at first, it was out of my comfort zone and it didn't feel natural. But when you do it over and over again, it starts to get a lot easier. And a lot of those things have come natural. Like I don't have a problem hugging my friends when I see them anymore. You know, certain things aren't as strange to me, but it's just like anything else that isn't innately in you. You have to practice. It might sound weird, but you got to practice it. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it.
Be intentional about stuff.
Yeah, I was the same way. I grew up, you know, it wasn't no I love yous and hugs and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted that with my girls. And they've known that ever since they were little. And, you know, even my mom said, you know, she learned from watching the way I was with my kids. She learned to love them like that. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and it just takes being intentional about it because, you know, I realized that it was something that maybe I had missed and would have liked, but I just didn't have it. And I saw it in other people and was like, you know what, that's how I want to raise my family. That's how I want to be. And so it happened, but I still, like in a romantic relationship, didn't have that. And so, you know, with Wallace, it was just kind of me following his lead, but us having those conversations and him knowing the kind of person I am naturally. And it took patience on his part at first. He loves telling people like, girl, when we first were dating, we would be sitting on the couch watching TV and he would go to put his arm around me or hug me. I would literally jump. And he like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, I mean,
that was scary. That was just weird. Like, you okay? What's going on?
I did not like it. I'm like, you need to announce yourself, player. Don't just be, you know. And so he's looking at me like I'm weird. I'm looking at him like he's weird, but we had to have the conversations. And so now, you know, after 12 years,
this is my hand. I'm going to touch you now.
I'm going in. So.
But I mean, that's good because a lot of people have triggers, you know, of, you know, maybe past traumas or things that they went through. And so explaining that to the person that you with and say, you know, it isn't you, is because I dealt with some things. And so I'm learning to be okay with, you know, the right kind of touches and the right kind of situations.
See, one of the things you got to be willing to say, and you got to say this to yourself first, because a lot of people say this just who I am, or that's just the way I am. You can't say that. You got to be willing to say to yourself, I am open. I am willing to try something different. I am willing to see what else is out there because this is not working. This is not what I need. I need to figure out to see the other side of this. because I want to be better for you. That's what happens a lot of times in a relationship. I want to be the best me I can be, but I want to be the best person I can be for you too. So I am willing to be open and I am willing to try. But if you're just sitting there always saying, this is just me, this is who I am, you're never going to get anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. It's that willingness to compromise.
Right. And sometimes people are just not ready to face things, you know what I'm saying? They just kind of buried it, but really not ever dealt with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Well, thank you, Chris. I'm awesome. I appreciate that. Oh, you said something. Well, no, his name is I felt that's it from the dust of my soul. Let's see. Oh, so blessed. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, I love everybody now because I promised to myself I will try to be a good person. Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. I'm trying to catch up with these comments. I think the key to find safety in yourself, because until you find safety in your life and yourself, you can't be vulnerable enough to love like that. And that's the thing. Like, I suffer from PTSD. And so that's the thing too, like head always on a swivel. I'm always like sitting on ready. So I used to tell him in the beginning, hey, you need to announce yourself because you're going to end up with a black eye. Like that was my first, you go to touch me in a hug and I'm punching you like, oh, my bad.
Right.
So and having those conversations, I mean, when you're ready, these aren't like necessarily first date conversations, but when you are, you know, comfortable enough, don't be afraid to be vulnerable because people need to know these things about you so that they're not offended or so they're not afraid or so they're not just thinking like, okay, they just don't want to be bothered. But
Cece, I wore it down. She couldn't resist. I wore it down.
Oh my God.
Oh goodness.
I grew up in a household where we hugged and showed affection. So I have to stop myself from hugging people because it's my natural instinct to go in for the hug and not everyone wants to be hugged. Yeah, well, you know, I hug all the time, Jody. But yeah, that's the thing with you know, like she's one of my great friends, like a sis to me. And, you know, she's a hugger and I'm good with that. But at first it was so, you know, to me with a lot of people, I'm like, what? And it was different. Like I said, when I moved to Texas, because on the East Coast, it's not quite that way. But Texas, people can be strangers. You can just be getting introduced like, oh, here's Sheila. And Sheila's like, oh, nice to meet you. I'm like, wait a minute, Sheila. Wait a minute. So, yeah.
What is this saying?
Exactly. Like, sorry, you can't touch me now. My feet are too warm and the car is too loud. Oh my God. No, that's me too, though. I be saying I'm hot. I'm hot. And that's the thing too. Some of us women of a certain age, these men need to understand that. One of my questions to Wallace often is, why are you breathing?
Oh God.
And he like, I'm trying to stay alive. Yeah, but that breath all right here, I'm hot. I'm hot. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I've had people ask me that. You said before I go in, people say, are you a hugger? Hey, Lisa, thank you for
I know people have had, you know, issues to even go to church or anything because they're like, when they, you know how they say, okay, you know, speak to your neighbor or shake the hands of your neighbors and they like, oh, I can't do it. You know, that's a lot and overwhelming to people.
Yes, I don't like making eye contact with people who I don't know. The last thing, and that's the thing. So that's real stuff. So Wallace is a pastor. We had a church for several years. That's one thing I asked him not to do, and he doesn't. He does not do that. I'm like, do not do the look to your neighbor stuff because people don't like that.
Yeah.
People. And so he never did that. He never did that. If he said to say anything, he would just say it. You ain't got to say it to nobody. Just say, like, everybody just say. And that's it. Because it puts people in an awkward position sometimes because it's not okay with everybody. And people can also be offended by that when you don't look at them. They're like, okay, you know, it's awkward. It's awkward. I'm fine with being hugged by friends, hubby, and kids in the family, but I don't like the whole church hugs by strangers thing. Yeah, that's too much for me. I don't like it either. I still don't. And go ahead.
I was just going down.
Well, now that I know that, I won't. Girl, please, you always hugging. Hush, Jody. I don't want to hear that. Navigate and touch after trauma is definitely the source of my conversations here. Yeah. And that's the thing. You never know what people have been through. And, you know, it's like, God bless you. I tell Wallace all the time, he had a relatively regular life, which is awesome. And I'm so glad that I was blessed with a man with a regular life because it has helped balanced me out so much. But it's been a lot of learning on both of our parts, because so many things that I have brought with me, he is like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Because that wasn't his experience. But having the conversations and learning and whatever, it has really it's really balanced us both out. It's opened his eyes to some things that he just wasn't aware of, but it's also made me a lot calmer. Like, he didn't even get PTSD unless you have been in a war. And it's like, no, it's a real thing. Like, and a lot of people think that, like, you say PTSD, they're like, oh, were you in the military? No, I was at my house.
Right.
It's just certain things, but, just being open and willing to learn about each other and having the conversations, it just makes a world of difference, because you're two different people coming from two different households, two different backgrounds. And the way you look at life and the way you interact with people is going to be different, but that doesn't mean it can't work.
Right.
For sure.
But thank you for letting me come up here.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming up. Shoot, and we are over
and there are
time.
no touch-free zones. Remember that.
No touch-free zones. Anyway, just get to the point and say that's enough. But have the conversation first.
Have the conversation.
Yes. I'm going to go back in the chat.
All right, girl. Let's see. I just want to make sure I'm catching up. Well, I don't want to skip. Okay. James was securely attached in childhood. His dad left the family, but otherwise his childhood was safe and secure. My house was not like that. So he has needed to learn, to understand. Yeah. And that's the same with us. There's a lot of stuff that, Wallace had to learn, for sure. I'm now ready to just be alone. Truth be told, it's hard when you keep trying and get nowhere. The thing is just being patient. I definitely understand, feeling like being secure and being by yourself and not needing where?
The last one you're going to.
Oh, okay. But just still being open to it. I just never want anybody to close the door to having that. Okay. Yeah. I also have PTSD. It's been a challenge for my husband to understand, but it's been really sweet. But he's been really sweet about it. Yeah. That's him too. Where? Okay. This one? Mm-hmm. That him on? Okay. Stae and Wallace, would you give up after getting nowhere after 30 years? No, I wouldn't. This is the thing. What giving up looks like for you. Like, if you're no longer like actively looking or pursuing or, whatever, that's one thing, but just not closing your mind off to the opportunity, because a lot of times those relationships happen when we least expect it, from somewhere we least expected it. And, like I tell y'all the story about me and him. We were just friends at first. I wasn't looking for anything, let him know I wasn't looking for anything. And then it turned into something. So as long as you're still open to it, I'm completely fine with anybody being okay one way or the other. Like, that's a healthy place to be in. I'm fine if I find it, I'm fine if I don't. But I don't want you to miss out on it when it's right in front of your face, just because you've completely closed off. So not giving up. No, I never want you to give up.
The thing you have to do on that, I would suggest, just be open. Don't necessarily look in or anything like that, because that's really when you really find yourself in relationships and things like that. When you're not looking, you're not trying, you're just out there just enjoying yourself. And men are attracted to that when you're just being yourself. They see that confidence in you, that you're okay being yourself, you're okay being just how you are. And that's when they generally say, hey, I like what she's about. She's good. She's doing what she needs to do. So guess what? I think I might want to pursue her a little bit. So that's generally when it kind of happens. So just be open. Don't completely shut it down. Just kind of keep your mind open and kind of go from there. Okay?
Because it happens when you least expect it. I was 27 when I got married, but I needed to get secure in myself before I was ready to be with James. Yeah. And that's why, y'all know me, live your life, LYFE, love yourself first explicitly. And that's what my first book is titled. And then that's what the first chapter of our couples book is titled, because we started the couples book out with saying, you have to love yourself first. Like, we didn't even want to get into all the interactions and communication as a couple until we address the individual. You have to love yourself first. You have to be able to love yourself, flaws and all, have given yourself grace, forgiving yourself, done the work to get over past traumas as much as you can. I hate to even say get over past traumas because we don't get over them, but how to navigate and cope and move on through life as healthily as we can before we can truly be in a relationship. So that was exactly the right thing. It's been closed and open so many times, together and then apart with the same person. I'm open, he's not. Well, that's the thing too. With that one, sometimes that's the thing right there, because I tell in my life coaching a lot when I'm talking to women, they have similar situations. And I'm like, if you're in a situation where it's back and forth, I'm going to call that chaos. And I don't know what your beliefs are spiritually, but I come from a certain spiritual belief. And I know that the word says that God is not the author of confusion. And to me, when you're back and forth, that's confusion. So in my mind, that's automatically not going to be the right person. However, as long as you continue to go back and forth and entertain that, he's not going to send you your person, because he's not going to put that person in the midst of your confusion. So first you have to be open to completely letting that situation go, the situationship, and then being open to what is going to be good and healthy. Sometimes we just get so used to something or somebody that we just keep entertaining it, even though we know that's not good, because there shouldn't be a lot of back and forth, and y'all should be on the same page. It's about being equally yoked. So that's the advice I would give. Be open to releasing that relationship, and then be open to something new.
Because wounds never heal when we continue to pull the scabs off of them. They never heal. I mean, as soon as they start healing up, and then we go right back into that same situation and opening up that wound again, pulling that scab off, that's just not healthy.
Yeah, and it's difficult. And like I said, it can be hard to part ways because we've just become so used to something, but you know in your heart that it's not right, and you deserve something that's going to be whole and complete, and somebody who is open to it. And so, and for all those years, that's too long.
You got to ask yourself, is this even a relationship? Is this relationship benefiting me any?
Yeah, you definitely need to take time to heal and learn after traumas. Absolutely. That's why I say we all need to do the work. I suggest counseling. People get tired of me. I know when I was away on my trip, I talked to so many people and I kept saying counseling. And it's like, is that the answer to everything? Yeah, that's the start. That's the start of the answer. And just to be able to sit and talk to somebody and be completely vulnerable without judgment, and somebody who can give you those tools and skills you need to cope. When you get someone, then you navigate the triggers that come in a relationship. Yep, absolutely.
People do bring, I hate to say it like that, but triggers and baggage with them, and you got to learn to navigate that.
And we have to, in order, we deserve to have a healthy life, without carrying that stuff with us everywhere. And again, it never completely goes away, but just getting the tools and the coping mechanisms to be able to live as healthy as we can and not feel damaged and broken. That's what I thought. I can do that. Time to move on. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to move on. I mean, and I tell people that when it comes to churches, when it comes to jobs, a lot of things, it's just the best thing that you can do for the situation is to move on. And it's not going to be easy at first because we become so used to it. It's not going to be easy at first. And sometimes we have to grieve those relationships, because it's become so much of a part of who we are, even if it wasn't a good part. And so give yourself that time to grieve and process, and then just get to know you all over again and who you are and what you want, and get to know your worth and your value. Because when we deal with that kind of stuff for so long, there's something in us that didn't feel like we deserved any more of that. And so you want to any more than that. And so you have to tap into exactly what was it about me that allowed myself to go through that for so long. And we've been there, but just do that work and you come out and you're refreshed and you're renewed, and now you're ready for that healthy relationship. Hey, Wellness, thank you so much for being here.
Well, like I was saying, sometimes you do that'll free them too, because sometimes they're in a certain situation and they don't know why they're in this relationship also. So when you have those conversations, you're willing to part ways and to have that conversation, say, this is not what I thought it was going to be, this is not what I deserved, I need something better in my life. It could be freeing for them too.
Right. And then the thing is too, if you ever are in a situation like that, and then you do decide to separate, and for whatever reason, you two decide that we want to be together, do not re-enter that relationship without going into couples therapy. don't try to do it on your own, because if you weren't able to figure it out for however many years, I think you said 30 with yours, you're not going to be able to figure it out together. I can't say that it wouldn't work, later, maybe, but definitely not without counseling. So if you ever decide to re-entertain that, y'all have to go in counseling together. Yeah, you definitely deserve that commitment. Yep, you deserve that. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see. Oh, you are welcome. Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so glad that, whoever knows where these conversations are going to go, but I love the fact that y'all feel comfortable sharing with us. Oh yeah, she got y'all know I'm an hour earlier than y'all in the morning. So it is I think like 6:00 for me, but I need to start doing that. I definitely do. I've caught a couple of the replays and I love it because a lot of it I'm able to keep up with my chunky self. So I appreciate it. I do. Sounds like you and him are both stuck. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But y'all, this has been great. I logged on having no idea what we were going to chat about, but I definitely wanted to share my crazy flights and my trip with y'all and just let you know how much I miss each and every one of you.
We got to get one question in, though.
Okay. And make sure y'all check and make sure y'all still subscribe, because they be unsubscribing people from the channel. But Wallace wants to do one of our questions from the love seat. So y'all know, and I always forget about that, but he always want to ask the crazy question. So come on, what's the question, partner?
How have we grown as a couple since we first met?
Oh, well, shoot, we just talked about it. That's probably why you picked that question. I know for me, I've grown as a couple by being able to be more open to the affection and all that, and not feeling so smothered and triggered by your advances. And, just being able to have that affection for somebody other than my kids and feeling safe and vulnerable. That's definitely how I've grown. And as a couple, though, because that's really how I've grown. But I think as a couple, in that same vein, where we can, because, we tell y'all this stuff about the conversations and different stuff. We didn't wake up like this. Like, this is stuff we've worked on through our relationship, and stuff that we realized that maybe didn't work in our past marriage, and then stuff in the very beginning of our relationship. So we haven't always had the excellent communication with each other. And there were certain things and how I would say things sometimes that would be offensive to him, or he would feel like I was hurting his feelings. But I think we communicate so much better. Like, the first 2 years of our relationship were really learning. But the one good thing about it, even though it wasn't easy from day one, we both were intentional from day one, and were very, very serious about having excellent communication. So at least we had that on the forefront of our mind. And now I think we are awesome communicators. We can talk about anything and nobody's really offended. And I say really, because sometimes something might rub you a little bit the wrong way. You'd be like, really, dude? But we are able to, hear each other out, and there's no issues at all. So what would
I know
I
would say as understanding backgrounds. Like you kind of alluded to earlier in the conversation, knowing how certain things you've been through, things that I was completely unaware in my upbringing. That's made me a more rounded person. I think being in ministry and things like that made me more open to see things through other people's eyes, not just through my lens, but now I can see things through other people's lenses too. So I can look at things more rounded now from different angles to understand better viewpoints and things like that. So when I am counseling or I am speaking to people or speaking to groups of people, I can come from different angles and I can make more connections now, because, that's something that you shared with me, and that kind of made me, be a more well-rounded person. And I think that's how I've grown, just to be able to appreciate you more.
Yeah, because you used to be very black or white.
Yeah, because that's when you come from your world, your world, and that's what I came from. And, my world's where I was at. So being with you and things like that, especially in this relationship, I've learned to appreciate you more. And I thought I appreciate you in the beginning, but learned to appreciate you more just by understanding your background and the things that you've been through, and things like that. So that's how I think we've grown. Yeah,
I agree. Well, I want to shout out everybody who was on Facebook. I'm sorry, y'all, for just now seeing you. I see Monica, Sean. Hey, Larry, Geraldine, Geraldine said, good conversation, just right for this age group and dynamic. The growth years and marriage is where you are. Oh, and for many others. Yes. And so y'all know on Facebook and YouTube don't always play well together. So if y'all want to make sure that I see all your comments all the time, please feel free to jump over to YouTube at Stae Hall, subscribe to the channel. Then I'll be able to see you over here. But thank you for tuning in over there in Facebook world. I think we had a couple more comments. I think Wellness was saying she's going to start trying to do some workouts in the evening. I saw that. So I would really love that. Let's see. Thank you both. This was a great live. Greetings, everyone. It's now every time I do, he says there's no one for him but me. But that can be manipulation too. So you want to make sure what kind of workout are you doing tomorrow? Okay, I won. It sounds like you and him are both stuck. Okay, you were telling me I'm further down. Oh, here it is. I'm going to try to do the workouts at night. I'm about that life of workouts in the morning. Okay. Okay. So that's what she was saying. Okay. Good night, everyone. And thank you all for your aid and support. I'll catch the beginning on a replay. Yeah, the beginning is crazy. Glad you were here. Good night. See, she's saying night to her, but good night. Good night. Good night. See you in the YouTube streets. Good conversation. Okay, that's what's Geraldine's. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. Have a great evening, everyone. So y'all have a wonderful evening. This was an awesome conversation. I missed y'all so much. Thank each and every one of you for being here and spending this part of your Sunday evening. We've been on here for almost 2 hours and the conversation was absolutely amazing. And we'll have to do more of this where, we just come on and talk about whatever we talk about. And Grammy, I'm going to get that package in the mail to you tomorrow. So thank you all. And y'all know the drill. I love each and every one of you to bits and pieces. Always be kind and love one another, but never forget to live your life. LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. And we'll see you next time in the hallway.
Don't fight to touch us.
Bye, y'all.
Living like a stage. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dreams. Living like a stage. Hey, hey.